Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome back to SIKH Channel, Tuesday night. My name is Brian Harris. I'll be your host for about the next hour or so. Last week, when we were kind of closing the show, one of the things that I had expressed was that part of what I wanted for this show was, uh, Panthic unity and to celebrate our diversity within our own Panth. And tonight, I have two guests with us, and that are both from South America. So Sikhi truly is worldwide now, and it's growing. Yesterday was uh, yesterday we celebrated and remembered um, the founder of Basics of Sikhi. And, for most of us, well, we found our way through Sikhi or to Sikhi through Basics of Sikhi and Nanak Nam, places where we could find kata in English and pracharak in English. And one of the things that has come up in conversation in the past is that we do have a lot of that available to us in English now. Books, there's translations of just about everything. But as Sikhi grows and Guru Nanak's teachings find its way into other corners of the world, English isn't going to be enough. And tonight, I have two cores with me that are both from Venezuela, and they both found Sikhi in South America. And luckily, both of them speak very good English, especially in comparison to my Spanish. So, we're going to talk to them tonight about how they found Sikhi or how Sikhi found them, and talk about the diversity within our Panth, and especially as it pertains to Latin America. So my first guest tonight is Gurchanan Kaur. She is from Maracay, Venezuela, and currently resides in Calgary, Canada. And our second guest is going to be Valeria Kaur. Valeria is also from Venezuela, but currently resides in Santiago, Chile. And it's winter down there. I think I looked at the weather and it was like 48 degrees or something like that. So that's pretty awesome. So let's go ahead and welcome them to the show. Vaheguru Ji Ka
Vaheguru Ji Ka
Khalsa,
Khalsa,
Vaheguru.
Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
So it's great to have you guys on tonight. I know we had talked about doing this several weeks ago, and it never worked out. But tonight, here we are. And the y'all listen to the intro. I think people find it odd at times to hear that Sikhi has found its way to South America. And I know about 2 months ago, I saw a video floating around the interweb ether there with looked like some nurses and some hospital staff doing Simran before their shift. And that was in South America somewhere. And it kind of struck me as unusual that would be going on there. But then I find you two, and it's awesome. So, Gurchanan, how did you find Sikhi?
That's a question that I always like to answer. So, Well, thank you, first of all, for inviting me to the show and for the opportunity to talk about my experience with the Sangat. So I found Sikhi after I was researching my own way of spirituality, and I spent a lot of like few years as agnostic. I started doing meditation from another tradition and so on. And I think at the end of that search, I found Sikhi in a very interesting way. So there is just one person in my city who wears at the star, and this person goes to my same university. So one day I went to her and I asked her if she was a Muslim, like why she wears at the star. I didn't know it was called the star. I just called it turban at the time. And she told me, "Oh, I'm a yoga teacher. If you want to come to any of my class, you're welcome." I'm like, "Okay, sure. Like I'm still looking for my path. Like why not yoga? Like sounds fun." So I went to her class, and the first thing they were explaining in the class was the Mool Mantar, and they were explaining to it in Spanish and also in Gurmukhi. So how to pronounce it in Gurmukhi and then a translation in Spanish. And I was in awe. Like it was so beautiful. Who wrote it? I asked her after the class, who wrote this beautiful like song? Or but for me at that time was a song, but it's not a song.
Right.
But yeah, so she explained to me, oh, it was written by Guru Nanak, and I asked her, so who's Guru Nanak? Is your God? And she said, well, he's my guru. And then the conversation started like that. And I remember in that time, I didn't want to say any mantra because I was meditating in total silence. But after listening to the Mool mantra, I couldn't stop reciting it in my head. So then the next week, when I went again to class, I show up with a composition of the Mool mantra. So I told her like I couldn't take it out of my head, and I made a song out of it. And she was like, "Oh, that's wonderful. We can do it in class, this and that." But I still had more questions and more questions for her. And then one day she just gave me the Japji Sahib, translated in Spanish. And she told me, "Look, this is the first prayers of the Sikhs. And I just want you to ask if you're going to read it, do it when you feel calm and just feel the prayer." I'm like, okay. Like, she didn't instruct me anything else. She didn't instruct me, oh, you have to cover your hair, you have to do this or that. She just told me, just read it and feel it. And I did. And I still remember the feeling of the first time I read Japji Sahib was like a stroke in my heart. Like I couldn't believe how such a beautiful thing existed, and I didn't know about it before. So while I was reading Japji Sahib, I was listening to it in Gurmukhi but reading in Spanish. I just felt that I belonged. I just felt that I wanted to know more, and I just had like a moment of not realization or whatever, but I just felt that it was my path. So after that, I couldn't stop listening to Japji Sahib or Mool Mantra or anything regarding like everything regarding to Sikhi. Like I just started to listen like all the mantras. I started looking on YouTube meanings of the things, like who were the gurus, like what are the Sikhs, where are they from. On my search, I of course found Basis of Sikhi, which I spent maybe 3 or 4 hours a day watching videos and reading stuff from Sikhi Wiki, just because I wanted to know. And I know I had the luck that I speak English and understand English. That was the only reason I would have access to that. Otherwise, I couldn't find much material in Spanish back then. I know there are a little bit more right now, but when I started like 6 years ago, I couldn't find anything in Spanish, maybe 2 articles. So
Yeah. That's
after, yeah.
that's
So
it, it's funny how your story in Venezuela and my story in the United States are pretty close together as far as how we found it and how we studied, and that's amazing. And so it just goes to show you basics of Sikhi worked. I just don't know that even he understood how good it was going to work.
right.
So Valeria, tell me how you found Sikhi, because you're from Venezuela also, but you're not from the same area, right?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. I have to ask sorry at the beginning because my English is not the best, but I'm gonna try. I started knowing about Sikh through yoga too. Okay, I read about it. I read about the school I was studying in that moment, that was Kundalini Yoga, and it was a great experience in general. But something was missing. Like I didn't connect truly. Okay, and it was through a movement called Global Gurwara that worked in Facebook mainly, okay, and they do Sahet Path online. So one of my teachers of the Kundalini Yoga asked me to be part of the volunteers for manage the Spanish Sahet Path of Global Gurwara. And that was the first time I read Japji. That was the first time I ever read Guru Granth Sahib. And it was pretty shocking for me, in special because when I was 19, I reverted to Islam, and I spent more than 5 years practicing Islam in a very strict way, I can say. But after 5 years, I go back to the shore of my family. I don't know, my faith and how I feel start to make troubles with family about Islam in Venezuela. It seemed weird for them. And the first time I read Jaji, everything, like all the questions that I still have, all the noise I have in my mind about things that I didn't comprehend, it made clear. It made super clear. So that was a huge bless for me. And I definitely thanks to the Guru because I feel he find me. He find me in a very dark place, and he bring me to light. So that is a blessing.
No, that's awesome. You know, for everybody who's listening, right now, and I think the statistics I read the other day says that Central and South America are just under 92% Roman Catholic. So, you know, for Sikhi to find its way into a geographical location like Central and South America, and for people to start grasping it in a location that is so overwhelmingly Catholic, is testament to Guru Nanak's word. And so I'm blessed the same way. I mean, I live in the heart of the Bible Belt of the U.S. I was telling people that, you know, we've got 387 Christian churches just in my county, and I think there's only 250,000 people in my county. So, yeah, it's interesting that, you know, we've been able to get here. So we know how you started, and we know, like for me, you know, what was that point for you guys when you just knew you were Sikh?
Can I go?
Yeah.
I felt it when I read Japji Sahib. I didn't know where the gurus were. I didn't know what it mean to be a Sikh. What do I need to wear? What do I need not to wear? Anything. I just knew it. And then from there, I started little by little, but at the same time, full on practicing. I remember my parents were so shocked when I started tying the stud and praying in another language. They thought I was going crazy. So, because they don't have any knowledge about this, or they haven't seen another Sikh before. But I couldn't wait. You know, I couldn't just go slow. I just wanted to do what is needed to be done. And I think that was the moment I knew. The moment I read Japji Sahib, I knew it.
That's amazing. For me, it was listening to Satpal Singh's explanation of Ik when he was doing his word by word explanation of the Mool Mantar. That was it for me. How about you, Valeria? When did you absolutely know?
Well, I think for me, sign of Guru Channeler was the first time I read Japji. I can say probably I didn't know at that moment. It took me a little more time to realize it was it. But I tried to speak with a lot of persons, especially because I already have experience of reverting to other faiths different to my family. So I was really afraid of the idea of say, oh, hello, I'm here again, and I believe in this. So it took me a little more of study the idea of SIKH, and it was through basic of SIKH that I'm really thankful about how great he worked and how easy they explain the faith and how easy they make you understand what SIKH means. So the love they have for SIKH was what made me have love for SIKH. I don't know if that can be explained like that, but yes, it's like that huge love, that sweet smile, that made me say, oh, this is it.
Yeah. So I live in an area where there are no gurdwaras. There's basically no other Sikhs around. I know, Gurchanan, you're living in Calgary now, but you've spent time in Toronto and in the U.S.
Yep.
So how was it when, because you left Venezuela and came to the United States for school, correct?
Yeah.
How was it when you found Sangat the first time? Like when there was just like a group and not just you?
It was very interesting. The first time I went to a Gurdwara, a Punjabi Gurdwara, was in Toronto, 2014. I came to Canada to study English for about 6 months. And I just ventured myself into the Gurdwara. I was super nervous. I didn't know what to do, how things work. I just went. It was a weekday, so there was not too much Sangat. And I remember I saw videos on how to behave in a Gurdwara, like what to do at the beginning, how to do Matatek and all that. So I went there, I did my thing. I went to the Langar. I thought achar was salad, so I put a lot in my roti, and yeah, that was very bad. But it was a sweet experience because as soon as I said that I was not Punjabi, that I am converted to Sikhi, the Gyanis and people around started to like helping me to understand things and like giving me gudka or like explaining how the Gurdwara works and telling me history and I found that so reassuring. Like I was being welcomed and I was not being treated like an alien or like not paying attention. Like if I needed help and asked Gyaniji, he will tell me answers, even though he speaks half English and I will speak half Punjabi. Like, somehow we find a way to understand each other. So yes,
That's another one of those things where, I found when there is that deep of love between two people, language can definitely be overcome. And I found that, that deep love with Sikhi and with Guru has been the same for me. I don't speak Punjabi, and I read very, 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 very little Gurmukhi. But I have this deep attachment and love for Guru. And when two people can talk like that, it's pretty amazing because the language barrier is diminished greatly. So, that's awesome. That's so awesome. Valeria, have you had I know you guys you guys do mostly house programs down there in Chile, right?
Yes. Here we don't have an official Gurdwara. We have the presence of the Guru. Somebody take care of him in a house. So some day of the month we can be able to visit and to read it. But it for me was quite different. Of course, I been there for a few days, and it was really touchy for me because it was the first time I ever see the Guru, be able to sit in front of him and read it. because here is the translation. We have a translation in Spanish.
Right.
But the first time I go to a Punjabi Gurudwara was just last year that I visit India, and I was able to go to Amritsar and have this full experience with not just Sikhi, but the cultural side of Punjab. So
Oh, that's awesome. I've yet to be able to visit any India or anywhere in that region. So that's a great experience. I will tell you, if you get a chance, and hopefully next year, October timeframe, Sikh Family Camp will be happening up in Toronto, and you can come up and you can go to Malton Gurdwara. That place is amazing for me. I love it. So, but it's good that you guys have enough Sikhs to have house programs and be able to have the guru with you there, because the population of Sikhs can't be that large. I think you told me there's a 3HO ashram also in Santiago.
in Viña del Mar, it's a couple of Chilean. They are revert to Sikhi too, and they hold a space of 3HO related. And it's a beautiful space. They're doing a really big work with the little scenes they have, and they have a beautiful space to hold and take care of the guru.
That's awesome. I know I have some acquaintances within 3HO, and I think guru teachings making it down through Central and into South America has been some pretty big work from Sikh Dharma International, spreading the word. And it's great that you guys were able to find the guru through that. So, Gurchanan, what's it like for you being away from Venezuela? The political environment down there is not the best, and I know that Valeria for sure still has family there. Do you still have family in Venezuela?
Yeah, my whole family still lives in Venezuela, except for my sister. She lives in America.
Everything's good with them? Everybody's okay right now?
Yeah, everybody's okay, but we're always on the edge because we don't know how things are gonna turn. So we just make sure they have like enough money and food and everything, just in case like things go even souther has been going. So it's definitely something. At least for me, it's something that I have present a lot. Like I'm worried about my family in Venezuela. I always think about them. There is not a single day I don't go without talking to them. I talk to them every day, just making sure everybody's fine. We have to be attentive to the news because they don't receive news internally. They get to know about what's going on from us on the outside. So there was last year, it was like a really hard time when the entire country went for a blackout of 5 days or something like that. And it was just like insane. Like we didn't know anything about our families for more than 3 or 4 days. They didn't have any electricity or water. Food was running low. Honestly, it's the most stressful time ever because I was in India back then. And what can I do from India to help them in Venezuela? So this is like, I think every Venezuelan person in exile have this feeling if they have family inside the country. We cannot just relax. We just need to like be aware of everything and take care of them from outside. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the situation in Venezuela is pretty dire. Back in the late '90s, you and I have talked about it. I spent a lot of time in Venezuela. In fact, the town that you're from in Maracay, and absolutely beautiful country, beautiful people. And the situation that they're in right now is unfortunate. and I hope that there's some sort of resolution soon. I know, Valeria, you still have a lot. Your entire family's still there, right?
Yes, like I have my sister, one of my sister here in Chile, but I have my mom and all my family there. It's the same feeling. It's the same feeling that you truly don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. You know, it can be today they don't have gasoline, oil. Right now, my mom can't move her car because they don't have gasoline to travel. With all this pandemic, it made me even more worry because medicines are the things that they lack most. The hospitals are falling apart, so it's hard. We try to help with the money and with the things we can send from here, but sometimes it's not enough.
Yeah, and and a lot of people don't know that's an oil-rich nation, and unfortunately, under Chavez and now Maduro, it's apparently that money's not going to the people for sure. So yeah, it's not a great time there. But your experiences outside of Venezuela have all been pretty good, yeah?
Yeah, I can't complain.
Yes, I you know I don't know how. I think it's just really strange that the Panth as a whole really can't or hasn't really looked at how broad Gurnanik's teachings have gone, and I don't know, Gurchanan, you and I have been on several panel discussions together. Do people find it strange that there's a Latina Sikh?
Yes.
How's that for you?
I still get reactions like, oh my God, you're from Venezuela, or like, what is that, or things like that. And they like the main question is always like, but how do you find Sikhi there? Like, is there any Sikhs? How many Sikhs are there? My answer is like 7, 6, I don't know, just few of us, very very few of us. So it's very interesting when either I find another Latin Sikh, which like makes me so happy because we can communicate in Spanish, or I just feel open to talk about that when people are honestly like curious and like they want to know more. I in no way feel like I'm a pattern of inspiration to anybody. Guru is inspiration. But if I get asked, I kindly answer like, oh yeah, Venezuela is in South America and we speak Spanish and we eat this food. So, yeah.
Yeah, I look forward to the day when there are good wars in all corners of the world, and the longer haul. I can only imagine, longer how different longer is going to be. When you come to Canada and come to the U.S., you go to South America. I think that's awesome. I mean, I look forward to that day. Hopefully, it happens in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Experience it.
Actually, we did Langar in Venezuela for a while when I was there. We were a group of other five people who were in the search of Sikhi, and we were doing Seva. We had Guru there, and every time we had Gurudwara in the house, we did also Langar. And it was not like for us. We did the Langar for the people in the hospital or people outside in the in his homeless situation. So yeah, our langar was not like dal and roti. It was like arepa and black beans and salad and our food, because that was people like, right? So it was a nice experience, and people were asking like, "Are you just giving food for free? It's just that." I'm like, "Yeah, just take it." Then by the third week, like, "Oh, the turban people are coming to like give the food. Just let them pass." Like this kind of things. So yeah.
No, that's great. And in my area, I mean, if you come to my house and we were going to do langar here, I mean, you're definitely going to get red beans and rice. You're going to get that that Southern Cajun flair for sure. I think we know what lentils are. I just don't know that we know how to cook them. So, that I've asked the questions that I thought were important for me. Do you guys have any questions or comments that you want to add that I haven't really covered? I'm sure there's areas that I haven't even thought of that you guys think about all the time.
Valeria, do you want to go?
Well, I want to share that here there is a lot of, I don't know if say a lot, it's too much, but there are several seats that revere Chilean persons that revere to SIKH, and they really have this huge need to learn more. And we need more materials in Spanish. We need like a huge SEBA to translate at least the basic knowledge to Spanish. Basic SIKH, again, it's doing a great work with few persons that can translate the most important or the most viewed videos, but we still need a lot of material for the people that want to know true SIKH and want to truly know the guru or do a better practice. We don't have much options. And here in Chile, like there are several groups that do like mobile language, similar of what Guru Chana tell that they usually do in Venezuela. Even now in Viña del Mar, in one of the churches, Catholic church, they open the kitchen for us to cook there. And they go to the street and give food to the persons that now we are in winter. And the cold is really hard and they live in the street. So it's a amazing SEBA they are doing now.
Yeah. So if anybody out there is listening and you speak Spanish and you can read Gurmukhi and you want to take on that SEBA, it sounds like there's a pretty good need for it.
Yes.
Even when I was starting in SIKH, I wanted to learn Gurmukhi too, because I know there is a big difference between the translations that we read and the actual Gurmukhi. So I started going to Gurmukhi classes in the Gurdwara, and it was great. But I was mostly seeing classes with children, like small children. There were no classes for adults, or at least converted people who wanted to learn more. So I was in India and with my husband, and I told him like, I cannot find a single person like who can teach me as an adult like how to read Gurmukhi, and like I don't know what to do. Like you teach me. And he's like, what about if you like get together some other people and we start teaching? Like I can teach you all guys, and then you can translate, because I cannot speak Spanish, but you can, and let's just do the class like that. So I was like, okay, let's do it. And then we started with 5 people, and I am one of the students still. Like I'm still learning from my husband. And now we call the school Gurmukhi International. Valeria is also learning with us. And we have now 20 students from all over. Like we have students from Spain, other students from America, students from Chile. And the whole purpose of this is giving information in Spanish to learn how to read Gurmukhi. Because there are a lot of schools teaching Gurmukhi, but in English. There is nobody like kind of explaining to it in Spanish and translating and like having the similarities with Spanish instead of English. So yeah, that's how it started, and like now it is our second year, and I feel, yes, as Valeria say, we still need a lot of information to be translated, because like we are just doing like a tiny little part, just like Gurmukhi, like how to be able to read the Gutka Sahib. But beyond that, there is nothing else. Just very few information in Spanish. So yeah, please, if you speak Spanish and can translate with us, please join us, because we totally need it.
Yeah, we have the English translations are pretty weird, because I can read one of the translations and then have somebody, somebody who reads Gurmukhi explain that to me in more depth, and realize that the translation doesn't even brush the surface of the actual meaning.
Totally.
And I can't imagine not having at least that starter area, that we have in English in Spanish for Spanish speakers. So that would be an amazing seva for anybody who is looking to get involved in that for sure. I know Basics of Sikhi had started. They had Spanish-speaking pracharaks that were working in Spain. I don't know how far they've gotten on their stuff, but I know they started it.
Yeah, they have started it, and there are like very nice basic videos in Spanish. Actually, I sent those to my parents so they could understand what I was doing when I took Amrit. So like I had to find a way to explain to them what is this. But yeah, they have been doing a great job. Totally.
Yeah, my dad. When I told my dad that I had become a Sikh, the only real question he had was, "Are you going to wear a turban?" And I was like, "Maybe." The turban's not looked on real well where I live, so yes, I don't know. I think all of our families, for those of us that make that move for whatever reason we do, into a faith that they can't relate to is interesting. The family dynamic changes. It shifts, and it really doesn't matter that if you're in America or if you're from Poland or if you're from South America, Venezuela, Chile. It seems like once you make that announcement that that's what you've done, your whole family dynamic kind of shifts. Do you guys get the same feeling?
For sure. Yes. Like it's just the dynamics, the way they ask you about more things. For me, my husband is from Punjab, so it's like you're doing this for your family. You're doing this because they want you to become Sikhs, and it's like I know Sikhi before I know my husband, so it's complicated, but at the same time it's a bless because they get interesting and they can read something. Like my bigger sister want to learn about yoga or meditation, and I sent like some books that they are Sikhi too, like get the whole view. And yes.
I don't know. We don't talk about religion in my family anymore. It doesn't come up at family gatherings or anything like that, and everybody stays kind of away from that subject. We'll dive into politics all day long, but we don't touch religion anymore since I converted.
Interesting.
Look, I ain't gonna lie to you. My niece converted from Lutheran to Catholic, and I thought my family was going to lose their mind. So when I told them that I was when I had converted to Sikhi, I don't know if they thought that was better or worse, or if they even wanted to think about it anymore. But that was, they were flabbergasted that my niece would go to Catholicism.
Yes, like my family, like almost my whole family is Catholic, but my mom and my sister are Seventh-day Adventists.
Oh yeah.
So my mom first question is like, "But you still believe in Jesus, right?" And yes, I believe in Jesus. Like, for sure, I respect Jesus. So, like, my concern is like, "But you know Jesus, right?" And I said, "Yes, I still know him." But at the same time, in my case, I feel like Sikhi made me understand even better my family faith and my backgrounds in Islam. It made me to have the whole picture at the end, and that was beautiful, I thought. I always have this feeling that something is missing. Like in Adventist, something is missing for me. In Islam, I still have this hole in my heart. And then when I read Jabjit, it was like, it's complete. Then you have like, okay, this is it. So it's a huge bless.
Yeah. Did at any point your families like feel like you were abandoning them or abandoning the family, as a result of your, becoming Sikh?
I think for me was at the beginning. My parents were not very happy about it, like totally not. They were not, they didn't agree I wear a turban, they didn't agree I was dressing more modestly or praying in another language, or they thought it was a cult. They thought like, so many bad things like, oh, what the people are gonna say would you're wearing that in your head and this and that. But I think resistance come from ignorance, just because they didn't know what was it I was practicing. You just rejected it at the moment. And kind of similar to Valeria situation, when I didn't even tell my parents I was going to take Amrit. I just did it, and next day I told them I did, because I know if I tell them before, they will tell me no. So like the first reaction from my mom is like, you are baptized Catholic, you cannot be anything else. And then my answer very like, I don't know, like I was just full of love, and I told her like, it's okay. Anyways, you didn't ask me if I wanted to be baptized, but this I did with my whole full understanding what I'm doing. So definitely there was resistance at the beginning, mostly from my family. My friends were okay. They were just curious, honestly. But once they understood what Sikhi was, once they went to the Gurdwara and I introduced them to the Sangat, and one of my Panch Pyare talked to them about Sikhi, like literally they sat for 3 hours answering questions about Sikhi that my parents had. Once they had that contact, like everything was okay. So I think, yes, at the beginning they thought they were losing me just because I would change religion. But then they realize it's not that different from like what they practice in Catholicism. Like we have so many things in common, and they could see that, and that's how their minds shifted into an acceptance. Like, okay. And today when my extended family have questions or say something negative about the star or like what I practice, they go on into the educational part. Like they go and say like, oh no, she's not this, she's a Sikh, and they practice this and they practice that. So transformation came,
That's
but it took
awesome.
time.
That's amazing. I'm sure my father got on the internet and took a look around a little bit, but I'll pretty much guarantee you he wouldn't defend me if anybody questioned me in front of him. Valeria, did your family feel like you were gonna abandon them?
I think I have probably more close relation to your side of the history than Guru Shannon, but I can say it's mainly my fault. Like I have a history of revert to other religion, really away of what my family believe. Right now, they just feel me like they lost me in that side. So I try to be present in every other aspect to them. But right now we don't talk about religion, so I can share about many things, but we don't discuss this is my faith, this is your faith. Just don't try to hurt feelings. I try to be really open that I was not like that before. I was really rigid when I practiced Islam. I was really black and white. And I stopped be with them in Christmas. I stopped doing family things. And this time for me, it's like, it's not like that. I don't have to be like that. Like, the mainly message that Japji Sahid teach me was to love, to be open to love then, and love my belief too. So it's not a fight between you have the right idea. It's like every idea have a space in this world. So, and that is amazing.
So I'll this question to Gurchanan, since a close mutual friend of both of ours wants to know, how do you think the perspective of converts is unique versus those brought up in Sikh families?
I will say we have to do a lot of homework before converting. So we have to read a lot. We have to investigate a lot and listen to people and experiment with certain things. And like, I think when a person's convert to a religion, it has to think it very well. You have to meditate it very well. Like you just don't jump from one religion to another. Just have to like really feel it and research about it. And I feel and and I live with a Punjabi family, right? Like my husband is Punjabi and I share a lot with Punjabis. So I feel that there is in some families or in some cases there is not enough information, like there is no more explanation when you are practicing things. Like I can ask maybe a kid from Gurudwara, why you do Matatek, and they said because my parents do. There is not an extra explanation like, oh, we do it because of this or because of that, and etc etc. We have to like do it because who's going to explain to us? We have to like understand it by ourselves. So I think that will give us a different perspective, but at the same time, we're losing other perspective like history and culture and things that are a heritage from the Punjabi people that we as a converted from other country, we don't understand. And without understanding that part of heritage, culture, history, we cannot fully get the why the Sikh gurus did this or that. For example, if I didn't study about the Sati tradition and Purda tradition, I wouldn't understand why Guru Nanak wrote Ban Jamia. Like these kind of things. So I feel, yes, we have a different perspective in the sense that we are looking at things from our own research, but at the same time, Punjabi people and Punjabi Sikhs has the heritage and the ancestral knowledge, and like the thing that we are missing, they have it. Maybe the things we're missing, we have it. So like we have to complement each other and like find that way to like learn from each other without saying I'm best or you're best. No, like we are all in this together. We just like need to like fill the gaps and like go for it.
Yeah. What about you, Valeria?
Well, I think like it's interesting. I think the first love in Sikhi for a person that revere, it probably different the feeling. As Guru Shannon said, you need to study more. You need to go deep in other things that they probably have, like a child education and that. But I really think even if you're Punjabi or you're from West, all persons have a moment of reversion. Okay, every Sikh, my husband, families, like every grow up Sikh have a moment to say in an old age when they truly revere, when they truly give their head to the guru, And I think that when the person choose that path, they truly understand that first love we have. So, yes, it's that.
No, I agree with both of you, and I think when we talk about Panthic diversity, for me, it's about us accepting each other, and whether you're Punjabi or Venezuelan or American, or Canadian or British, it doesn't matter, and I think as we start to grow, as the Panth in the West starts to grow, we will see a greater acceptance of our diversity, not just within the ethnicities that exist, but also within the Panth itself, between the Jatabandis. I mean, that's those are the things that I'm hoping for, and this is one of the reasons I wanted to have you guys on with me tonight, because it's even more rare than, you know, the old white guy sitting here talking to you guys, to have, you know, the Latinas and the Latin Americans, you know, in the Panth too. It's great. It's amazing. So, you guys have anything to close with? Anything you want to anything you want to add to the conversation?
Well, I guess I say thank you. I say, like, thank you to all those persons that hold the knowledge until now. To those persons that do great seva as basic as SIKH, that I think people don't acknowledge the amount of huge work they are doing and how important it is. Like, from UK, from the other side of the world, to Venezuela, to Chile, like thousands of miles away, a person here understands the message of Guru Nanak. So that is huge. That is huge. And they start doing it like with the nails. I don't know if that's saying it's understand in English, but they start for nothing. And it was the great love they have what pushed them to do that seva. So
Yeah, I totally want to add on Valeria's thinking or thought, sorry. Honestly, without people doing the seva of educating, we will probably wouldn't be here. Like, honestly, everything is Guru's kirpa, but without them doing the seva, it's impossible to get information about SIKH down there in South America. And definitely thank you for me, especially in every step of my journey. I have found very loving Sikhs from different Jatebandi or different groups, but every single Sikh I have encountered has been loving, understanding, and patient overall, because I have thousands of questions. I don't know many things, but they kindly answer, and they kindly invited me to spaces to learn more, retreats, invited me to learn many things that probably I probably wouldn't get it done where I was. So totally, I am super grateful from my heart, from every and each person that I have encountered in this journey that have helped me to grow and be better.
That's awesome, and I want to thank y'all for coming on. You know, having Valeria on from Santiago, and you being up in Calgary, to me being down here on the Gulf Coast. It's a worldwide thing. I think, in conclusion, and the things that what I get from this is what Guru Nanak started with his udasis and his travels, and having conversations with everybody he came in contact with, and with everybody who, there isn't a group or a place where Guru Nanak went that he is not remembered with love and respect. And from all the way through, the Pacharks today that are doing Pachar in English, we were in a conversation, and somebody asked if I thought that I was a pioneer, and I told him, I said, no, I'm not a pioneer. I said the pioneers were Bhai Jagraj Singh and Bhai Satpal Singh, who saw the future and saw what was necessary and what was needed today so that SIKH has a future in the West. Mm. And so, my final thoughts for tonight is that if you ever, wanted to know where the future of Sikhi is, look inside your own panth, look at your youth, look at your pracharks, look at the people who are doing kata, and how many people are putting themselves out there to educate me and Gurcharan, and it's amazing. And I've had the same experience. Once I found Sangat, I was basically adopted, and if I have a question, all I have to do is ask. Somebody is willing to give me an answer. So I hope that the viewers tonight realize that Sikhi is a worldwide faith. We're out here. And I'm not talking about different ethnicity. I'm just talking about being Sikh and embracing our diversity and capitalizing on all of our collective experiences makes us stronger. So I think I want to thank you guys for this evening very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time out and spending an hour with us on the SIKH channel. And I hope that we will be able to do it again in the future. Maybe we'll be able to do it in person. That'll be awesome. When COVID is over, I'm looking forward to meeting everybody. I've spent so much time on Zoom calls and Skype calls and whatever else I've been up to. So for the SIKH channel, I say good night. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa.
Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.